Hello, this is wmpyr. Here to respond back to an email that I received where they were asking me to do a breakdown of an article that they wrote. And so yeah, let me go ahead and get started. First of all, before that, let me say that I appreciate, people asking me questions and giving me comments and stuff like that. Uh, One of the guys that has been doing a lot of that recently, the Killer Method, and also this other individual who's been sending me some emails. I really appreciate it, guys. So thank you very much. Okay, so the first one right here, why the title is "Why Waveless Folding Knives Are the Fastest for Self-Defense." Okay, so number one, what's a wave opening? So a wave opening is essentially on the spine. So don't worry about this one. This is a cross guard, so it goes all the way. So this is the flipper side. So please ignore this. So for the wave, you need on the spine of the blade right here. This is the spine. So on the spine, there has to be something that could hook onto your pocket. And then it also needs to be a tip up carry. See, the pocket clips like this. So when you pull it out of the pocket, this part, the spine, the hook on the spine side, it's going to hook onto the pocket. And as you pull it out, it's going to automatically open without using springs or anything complex. So it is a very clever design that makes it like an automatic without having any complex design on the inside there. So it's very cool, it's very genius, and I do like it, and it's a smooth opening thing. So that is the wave, and it was developed by the Emerson knives. Okay, so number two, why am I doing this? I see an ever-growing trend of people thinking waveable knives are the fastest for self-defense. And I think it's detrimental for anyone who cares about self-defense with blades if the trend catches and everything ends up being waved in the future. Well, wave knives are extremely popular, that's for sure. That is for sure. But I don't think we need to worry that all the knives are going to end up being wave knives. If it was going to happen, I think it would have already happened, and it hasn't, so I think we're all right, as cool as they are, they're not the best thing in the world, in my opinion. They're not perfect, so it's for a specific thing. It's for a very specific thing. It doesn't cover everything. So yeah, I don't think we have to worry about that. The annoying part is some of the people, and that is there's always annoying people where they're gonna say wave knives are the best for self-defense. Period, and everything else sucks. People like that are extremely annoying, but what are you gonna do, right? So next, let's go to now to my talking points. Folders must only be deployed in a self-defense situation if there is enough time. Okay, so then he goes into people confuse firearms with cold weapons, and by cold weapons he's talking about like blades and stuff, right? Knives. This guy who wrote the article, in my opinion, he has a very logical mind, very technical in his thinking. Okay, and I like that, and I try to be that way myself as well. But at the same time, I'm here not to attack him, not to criticize him, but to help him out. Okay, and right here with the firearms versus cold weapons, I come from the Filipino martial arts perspective. So firearms and blades and empty hand, for us, it's all in the same line. They're all just tools. So I don't really make that kind of separation. Yes, they're different, but there's many similarities too. So I'm going to skip this section. And then he talks about, so it's not safe trying to deploy a folding knife from your pocket if the enemy is too close to you because you can fumble at the worst time. And then he also says a folding knife should only be deployed from your pocket if you have enough time to make a controlled and smooth opening Otherwise, you should be punching and kicking if there is no time to deploy. Okay, so I basically agree with what he's saying, and I'm going to word it differently. Okay, so I don't think it's about fumbling or not fumbling, because there are some people that are, they're very smooth, and they can take out a wave knife or a non-wave knife and deploy it, with the thumb stud or whatever under pressure, even while they're getting attacked. So it's not about fumble, okay? And some people are tough. They can take a lot of hits, and you could beating them down, and they could reach into their into their pocket, into their backpack, and take out the weapon while they're getting kicked and beat on. So you never know, okay? So to me, it's not about fumble, okay? And also, it's not about punching and kicking. So the way that I'm thinking is, this is about timing. What you're talking about is timing. If the bad guy is attacking me, right, then what I should be doing is defending this attack. Because if the bad guy is 200 pounds or more, or maybe he's just a very strong puncher, he could knock me out with that one hit. That's a gamble I'm playing. If I'm going, he's hitting me, but while he's hitting me, I'm going to take the weapon out. Or can I take the weapon out before he hits me? So now I'm trying to see who's faster. That's gambling. Once again, I don't know who's faster. I don't know who's tougher. I don't know if I could take his hit. Those are all gambling, right? So if he's attacking me, then I should be defending the immediate threat first. That's number one. And defending the immediate threat regardless of if I use a weapon, a shield, or try to go for I'm even if it's empty hand, defend that first. Even if you have a firearm on you or a knife on you, don't worry about those things right now. Just defend, even if you have to do it empty-handed. That's what he's talking about. Get your priorities straight, And I 100% agree with that. That is the same. You learn that same lesson in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, where they teach you, position before submission. So a lot of times, if you're fighting and then you get a good position like the mount, people want to immediately go into a submission. And no, they say, get the position, establish the position. Make sure you secure the position first. Secure it, get it down, make it solid, then start going for the submission. Get your priorities straight. And then the same with the reverse. If the opponent has me in the mount, the first thing I want to do in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, they teach you, is to escape the mount, right? If he gets mount, I need to get out of there. But if he's punching me, do I escape the mount? No. If he's punching me, I deal with the immediate threat first. So I have to defend against that punch. That's number one. Then, only after I can completely defend his punch, then I escape the position. So once again, this is about priority. If the other guy is attacking you with a weapon or with whatever, you have to defend that first. Okay? Not, can I go for my knife? Can I go for my gun? That's not the right time. That's what he's saying, okay? Defend the immediate attack first, all right? So the next thing is, he says, the Kubotan use is faster, safer, and less complicated. Okay, so in the email, you were talking about preferences. At the end of the day, a lot of this is preferences. And so you understand that. When you're talking about using the knife closed as a kubotan, right? That's what he means. Kubotan use. Use the knife closed like a kubotan, a palm stick. Okay. And then using the knife wave, where as you pull it out of the pocket and it does this, okay? Those are two different methods. Okay, so just please understand it. There's two different styles. So it's like Taekwondo and Aikido. It's like judo and boxing. It's two different styles. You can't say one is better than the other, in my opinion. Okay? And so what did I do is, what I do with different styles is I cross train. I study different styles. So the wave, I studied it. Back when it came out, I studied it like crazy. I EDC a wave knife all the time. I experimented with different kinds of wave knives, all kinds of different shapes. In fact, I believe, I don't have evidence for this anymore because I deleted a lot of my old videos. In fact, probably all my old videos. But I was one of the first guys on YouTube to show how to make an improvised wave. Okay. So, it wasn't because I thought wave was the best, but it was because I wanted to make sure that I understood and experienced and mastered the wave. So I did that. Now, if somebody, really likes the wave knife and that's their system, and if the bad guy attacks them, and so they immediately go to their knife and it's a karambit, and they take it out and it's a wave, and it instantly goes into reverse grip, and they go into knife boxing, okay? And they protect themselves that way. And if, hey, if that's what they like and that's what they feel comfortable with, good for them. Good for them. That's fine. That's their method, okay? And for me, that method, though, using a karambit like that and knife boxing and using a wave knife, for me, been there, done that. That's part of my system too. I teach it. I teach using the knife closed, but I also teach the wave. And I also teach knife boxing. I make sure that the students experience that. But I also tell them my personal preference is using it closed, 100%. But I tell them that is my personal preference, okay? It's up to them what they want to do. Maybe they like, I've had students where, they're like, no, I like the wave. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. But let me show you that there's other ways, or there's other people that, they like my system, but I tell them, hey, but make sure you know that there is the wave and there's other methods too. So that's cross training. So that's what I do even with knives, okay? The same thing with empty hand. I cross train. So that's what I would say to you right here, where you're talking about you believe that the Kubotan is faster, safer, and less complicated. Once again, you are very logical. You think a lot, and a lot of it is sound. But remember, logic is your opinion. Logic is not fact. I know that seems hard to understand, but there's a lot of people that are logical, and they have their own ideas of how to do things, and they have their own methods, but that doesn't make them right and somebody else wrong, okay? It's just who can do it better at that time. The timing, certain situations, that's what you have to know. There's pros and cons because they're different. So at certain times, using it closed like a Kubotan is a much smarter idea. And then at other times, the wave can be very, very effective. So, it's just different, and there's pros and cons, okay? And once again, you can have a preference, nothing wrong with that. So next he goes into sweeping deployment is more reliable. Okay, sweeping means extending or performed in a long continuous curve. So you're talking about like this, right? That's what you're talking about. And yeah, for me personally, if you're talking about reliable, the most reliable for me is two-handed, okay? Two-handed, I mean like this. And the reason why I say that is because I remember being in a situation many years ago where I heard people inside the house, upstairs. I heard footsteps, so I thought people broke in. So I was visiting. I was on vacation. So all I had was a knife. And I got my knife. I was hiding. I was waiting for them to come. And I was ready to ambush them, to attack them and take them out. I expected at least 3 people armed with firearms. That's what I was expecting. So, at that time, I was scared. I admit I was 100% scared. And in it, I was hiding in the dark. All I had was a knife. I opened it like this, okay, and two hands. Why? Because it was difficult. And this is a knife that I could easily open with one hand. It wasn't this knife, but it was a knife that I could easily open with one hand, no problem, under normal circumstances. But here, under immense pressure, it was very, very hard. So I had to go to two hands like this. And I could tell you at the time, even breathing was difficult. Just breathing felt like the air was made of concrete or something like that, okay? And those three guys that fully armed, I was ready to take them out, you know. I was ready to, I wasn't going to waste any time. Number one, number two, number three, you know, kill, 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 okay? And I know that sounds terrible, but, you know, my life, you know, other people's lives were at stake. So, you know, that was my mentality. And it was extremely, extremely scary is all I can say to you. And at that point, the most reliable grip to me was two-handed opening, okay? Now, the two-handed opening, when you open it like this, I open it two hands, but I also keep the blade edge towards the opponent, because if they come at me right now, then I could slam this into them, okay? I could just palm strike this right into them and use it that way if necessary, okay? But anyway, so the next part you're talking about is if you still want to open fast, there are two-handed opening and inertia opening. I don't know what this two-handed opening is because you say it's a fast opening. Me opening this knife is not, this is not a fast opening. This is just a very secure opening, you know, boom. And I can go like that once again, immediately into it. But I don't think of it as a fast opening. The inertia opening, I do know what you're talking about, and that's just getting the knife and, you know, flicking it really hard and opening it that way. What I do recommend when you do that is make sure that when you do flick it open, you are flicking it towards the opponent so that the blade edge is going to hit the opponent. And even if the knife is not fully open, even if it's only like this, it'll catch onto the opponent and open up and lock from that same movement. In other words, your deployment, your blade deployment and slashing, your attack is simultaneous, okay? And the other thing that I recommend about inertia opening is that don't stop with just one motion. I would do it again and again. And the angles of attack in Filipino martial arts, we are continuous anyway. So I would keep going just in case with the first one, it doesn't fully lock open. So, you know, you have the backup there. Anyway, let's go into wave. It's annoying for EDC. You know, once again, I think, you know, this is preference here. And like I said, I did EDC with the wave for a long time back in the day. And yeah, I discovered, you know, that you could have the wave knife in the middle of your pocket, you know, clip it to the middle area, and that way you don't have to worry about hooking. If you want to make sure that it hooks a higher percentage, put it all the way to the end, or put it all the way to this end, either side, and that way it's going to have a much better chance of hooking, you know. So if you put it in the middle, you have a better chance of just taking it out and not deploying the blade. Although you still can, you just have to angle it a certain way, and you can still wave, you know. But you know, once again, all that comes with practice. All that comes with, you know, experience and stuff like that. So, you know, for me, the wave was not annoying. It was not a problem at all. Okay, number two, cold steel thumb plate and snaggletooth are not good for hard use. The cold steel's thumb plate. Look, you know, once again, to me here, you are talking about preference. I agree with you. I am not a big fan of the thumb plate. You know, one of my favorite knives, the RBB, Reality Based Blade, which I know a lot of people do not like, but I really like that knife. And on that knife, it uses what is called a thumb disc. It's pretty much the same thing as the thumb plate, but it's circular instead of square. That's the only difference, really. And that one, I wish it had a different method, something else, but pretty much that's all there is on there. Some people claim that they could wave that knife open. I don't know if mine is just way too the detent is way too strong, or whatever. But yeah, mine does not wave, and whatever. But yeah, so I wish it had other methods to open it that was much more reliable. But the yeah, so I understand what you're saying. But I've had that knife for a long time. It's never given me problems. So not good for hard use. That's I don't think that is a big deal, And I know what you're talking about with the snaggletooth. That is the wave that you can attach where the thumb stud is supposed to go. You could make a regular folding knife that uses a thumb stud into a wave knife, and I think whatever, not a big deal. So is that the end? Yeah, that is the end. So look, what I'm saying here, I think the most important part of this video, yes, I try to do a breakdown for you and everything, but at the end of the day is knowing the difference between your preference and your opinion is not fact. Even though you try to be logical, it still does not equal fact. If you can understand that, remember martial arts, and you apply this to martial arts, but you also apply this to your life, because this is martial arts, seriously, is a lifestyle. So when you apply this to your life and you are talking to your friends, family, loved ones, and you understand the difference, you're much more personable, and you're gonna have a much better chance to get along with people and help them out. And if you do get into an argument with somebody and you notice that you're butting heads with this person, you'll know, oh, this is a person that mistakes, their opinion as fact. Oh, this is one of these people. So then you understand and you go, I don't have to play this game. I don't have to be that way, So, that if you understand that, and you understand that's the way they think, that's how they are. So you already know what kind of person they are, and you don't have to play that game, okay? Because, it doesn't mean anything. Just because, some people think that whoever wins the argument is right and the other person is wrong, and that's not true. That is not true. That's absolutely silly, So, don't worry about those kinds of things, and keep thinking, because once again, you have a technical mind, and that's a good thing. Keep doing that, but you got to be careful with your opinions there, And if other people disagree with you and whatnot, don't worry about it, because the thinking is a craft. Just like in martial arts, you keep developing your ideas. You keep working on your concepts and your principles. You keep working at it. So, people can't tell you that you're right or that you're wrong. They can, but it has no meaning there. So I tell people all the time, if you don't agree with what I'm saying, don't worry about it. I'm not going to argue with you, because I just keep working on me. So this is something that I've developed for years and years and years, and I just keep going. So this comes from work. It doesn't come from we argue and I'm right. I beat you with my argument. Therefore, my stuff is good and your stuff is wrong, and that's why I know my stuff is better. That's not how I do it. My stuff comes from me going to the backyard with the machete, working, actually cutting things, training in the garage, with tires, and it comes from work, from training. So it doesn't come from arguing, okay, and winning arguments. So that's it for now. Thank you for viewing, and take care, folks.